Assalamu alaikum. I am Layla Abdullah-Poulos. I'm a graduate student studying American Muslim culture. I'm particularly focusing on native-born American Muslim women writers. And the reason why I've decided to focus on them is because they represent a rich and growing genre of writing, and they also serve as important cultural artifacts of the native-born American Muslim experience. American Muslim culture is very, very vast. There are a lot of aspects to it. There are people with diverse heritages, upbringing, and Muslim and Islamic observations. So to try and kind of say, well, I'm going to just study American Muslims is really setting up to find yourself facing a vast amount of information and a vast amount of work. So as any graduate student knows, sooner or later you're going to you start off with a topic this big, and you kind of like narrow it down into this teeny little thing, which is what I went through, because at first I thought, yeah, I can do American Muslims. Oh, wait a second. There are different subcultures in the American Muslim culture. So what do I want to look at? Do I kind of want to look at the immigrant Muslim population for first generation born here, or do I want to look at some other groups? Now, I know that one group of American Muslim one American Muslim cultural subgroup that's often ignored are native born American Muslims. And by native born, I mean Muslims who have deep American historical and cultural roots in the country, as well as Muslims who develop their Islamic traditions and applications here in the United States. Okay, so when you think about American Muslims, there are American Muslims that were not born here, and so they migrated, and their Muslim traditions and observations migrated with them. You have American Muslims that were born here, but they come from their Islamic traditions or their Muslim traditions come from their parents or their grandparents' countries of origin. What I want to focus on are American Muslims who are not only born here, okay, and have a deep heritage here, but also the way that they observe Islam and the traditions that they developed were developed over here. And so the three subgroups that I'll be focusing on are native-born Euro-Americans, African-Americans, and Latino-Americans. Those are three American Muslim subgroups that are often ignored, or their significance is downplayed, but they do have a deep cultural significance. And one of the things that I've observed is that they're developing their own cultural artifacts that represent both having an American experience, a deep heritage and American experience, as well as their Islamic identity. So they represent a cultural identity that merges their American experiences and their Islamic observations, which are both something that are developed here in the United States as opposed to somewhere else. So those will be the particular women authors that I'll be focusing on. Although there is room for me to look at other works, I know that there's a growing amount of work from American Muslim women from immigrant backgrounds. So they may be South Asian, they may be Middle Eastern, or something like that, and that's perfectly fine. But the group that I'm focusing on the most will be native-born American Muslim women, which are Euro-American, Latino-American, and African-American. Unfortunately, I haven't found any examples of Latina-American fiction. And so if anyone knows of any Latina American Muslim women who have written fiction, please share it with me, because it would be more than welcome. So what I want to do is I want to kind of take the graduate work that I'm doing and utilize this to discuss some of the books that I'm reading. And I want to be able to look at some of the literary theory that I will be applying to my thesis, but also just to kind of let let people know about some of the works that are being produced and put out there by Muslim women authors, native-born American Muslim women authors. So there are a few that I have in mind, but again, I'm welcome to anyone who has any suggestions or anything like that. So my video clips from this point on will focus on one author at a time. And I may, unfortunately, get a little academic. I'm going to try to avoid that. I really kind of want this to be a way of letting viewers know how these works are being produced and what they contain and how they're important parts of the American Muslim culture. So I'll try to stay as casual as possible, and but I really do want to share these works because they're very important works. Okay, and so thank you. Assalamu alaikum.